Hi everyone, I'm Lauren Conlin, and I am reporting today for LA Magazine as their East Coast correspondent outside of the federal courthouse in Manhattan, where Sean Combs had his first hearing since being convicted on the two Mann Act charges in July. And the Mann Act charges relate to transportation to engage in prostitution, and Sean Diddy Combs is set to be sentenced next Friday, October 3rd, on those two charges. However, the hearing today was to hear the defense argue why he should be acquitted on those charges or why he should get a new trial. And I also think a lot of the argument from the government and the defense, this will go into consideration for the judge when he's doing all of his sentencing guidelines. So before I get started on that, I want to just show you, these are 4 questions that the judge had asked the government to address. And they did address them, and Alexandra Shapiro, she argued against it. But some of just the big takeaways from today, I would say, something huge that Alexandra Shapiro dropped at the end, it was like a big quote, I made sure to write it down. She said, quote, "The Mann Act is racist and many judges and juries refuse to enforce it." She also said the history of the statute of the Mann Act is an embarrassment to the United States, and therefore our client should be acquitted on all of those charges. Now, the judge really wanted to know, from the government, what is your interest in pursuing prostitution and pursuing the Mann Act? And the government kind of said, look, we want to pursue this because it will mitigate violence in women. It'll mitigate drug use and the the passing of diseases and whatnot. And the defense was like, well, okay, I mean, our client was acquitted on the violence and the drugs and all of that stuff, so this doesn't even matter. And then the defense said, also the DOJ has no interest pursuing the Mann Act or prostitution cases. They basically said they don't prosecute Mann Act cases unless someone is, quote, running a business exploiting sex workers and minors, and these were all consenting adults, and there should be no government interest. To which the judge said, well, isn't prostitution, mainly all consenting adults? And they're like, yeah. And then they went into the whole argument, the defense, where Diddy wasn't making any money from it. He wasn't profiting from it, which has been another huge point of contention here. They have said our client didn't profit at all. So the judge actually asked the government to cite cases like this before sentencing next Friday. So just in a nutshell, that's kind of what happened. I mean, I'm leaving a lot out, but there will be a written article talking about more.